A volcanic eruption in Iceland is decreasing in power, says the country's meteorological office.
A magnitude 6.2 earthquake has struck northwestern China, killing over 120 people.
A new report says Russian assault plan is to flatten Ukrainian civilian infrastructure.
UN votes on key humanitarian issues in Gaza amid unrelenting Israeli bombardment. The intensity of a volcanic eruption that began last night southwest of Iceland's capital Reykjavik is decreasing, according to the country's meteorological office. Icelandic authorities have created a safety zone in the affected area, which was evacuated weeks ago. Some residents are worried, others excited.
I'm very excited to be here in this place, in this time, and just being able to see this natural phenomenon happen. It's just like something from a movie.
Now, this time there is a lot going on, and a town involved, which might end up under the lava that's flowing behind us. So yeah, that's kind of mixed feelings, to be honest. So yeah, let's see how it goes and how long it lasts. It's still amazing to see, but that's kind of a bittersweet feeling at the moment.
The Icelandic Meteorological Office explained in its latest bulletin that the eruptive fissure is about 4 kilometers long. There have been no air traffic disruptions so far.
More than 120 people have been killed after an earthquake hit northwestern China overnight, in the nation's deadliest quake in 9 years. The magnitude 6.2 earthquake struck near Gansu province, injuring more than 700 people, damaging roads and knocking out power and communication lines. Thousands of rescuers are braving freezing conditions to try and help people in the high-altitude area. Gansu has a population of about 26 million people and includes part of the Gobi Desert.
Russia has damaged or destroyed almost every building in the eastern Ukrainian city of Avdiivka, according to a new report. It is part of a major assault plan which has seen civilian infrastructure like schools and hospitals deliberately flattened. Over the last 24 hours, Russia has launched dozens of drones at Ukrainian cities in what's become a nightly barrage, while trying to put together a ground offensive in eastern Ukraine with limited success, Ukrainian troops so far being relatively well armed. But with US aid remaining blocked by Congress, the situation could change.
We are still planning one more aid package to Ukraine later this month. However, when that one's done, as the comptroller, Mr. McCord, made clear in his note to Congress today, we will have no more replenishment authority available to us, and we're going to need Congress to act without delay.
Ukrainian President Zelensky thanked the EU for adopting a 12th package of sanctions against Russia. It focuses on imposing additional import and export bans, combating sanctions, circumvention, and closing loopholes. The Russian Defense Ministry released footage it claims is Russian artillery firing at Ukrainian positions. For months now, neither sides appear to be making progress.
Wounded Palestinians are rushed to Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis, following an Israeli bombardment in southern Gaza. But shelling isn't the only weapon of war. Human Rights Watch has accused Israel of intentionally starving civilians as part of its offensive in the Palestinian enclave. Israel says it's not striking civilians intentionally. However, this footage from the 10th of December shows paramedics narrowly escaping shelling while recovering bodies in Khan Yunis. US Defense Chief Lloyd Austin is in Tel Aviv to confirm support for Israel. He has spoken about making the war in Gaza, quote-unquote, more surgical and to move to lower intensity operations.
Protecting Palestinian civilians in Gaza is both a moral duty and a strategic imperative. So we will continue to stand up for Israel's bedrock right to defend itself And we will also continue to urge the protection of civilians during conflict and to increase the flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza.
A humanitarian aid convoy entered Gaza through the Kerem Shalom crossing on Monday. The passage is situated on the border of Egypt, Israel and Gaza and is much faster than the Rafah passenger crossing. Meanwhile, Hamas has released a video of 3 elderly Israeli men being held hostage in Gaza. The IDF has condemned the footage as quote-unquote atrocious terror. A UN Secretary vote calling for an end to the fighting in Gaza was postponed on Monday due to arguments over wording.
Energy giant BP says it'll stop transporting oil and gas through the Red Sea as attacks on commercial vessels by Yemen's Houthi rebels continue. They've targeted Israeli-linked vessels during the war in Gaza and have escalated their attacks in the last few days. Brigadier General Yahya Sarri, the Houthi military spokesman, said on Monday they launched what he described as naval aircraft at the Swan Atlantic, a chemical and oil products carrier, and the MSC Clara cargo ship. Some of the world's top shipping companies and oil giants have now been scared off, meaning that a key route that 10% of global trade passes through is now almost completely out of use. Ships will now have to go around the Cape of Good Hope at the bottom of Africa instead, adding around 10 days or longer to their journeys. And that means the price of food and many other goods will inevitably rise.
Protect, strengthen, anticipate. Those are the watchwords of the 13th Belgian presidency of the Council of the EU, which begins on January the 1st. The country will take the lead in joint discussions during what promises to be a turbulent political period, with the European elections at the beginning of June in its sights. In practice, the Belgian presidency will not have the usual full 6 months to complete the 150 dossiers on the table. For the Prime Minister, the first priority is to protect citizens and turn the EU towards the future.
Deuxième élément, c'est de renforcer notre économie qui crée notre prospérité, qui crée de l'emploi, qui finance notre solidarité sociale. Aider cette économie à faire la transition vers une économie durable, une industrie qui nous aide à réaliser les objectifs du Green Deal.
When it comes to the EU's Green Deal, the Belgian presidency will have to reach an agreement on carbon emissions from trucks and buses. It will also have the task of reaching an interinstitutional compromise on packaging, which aims to reduce, reuse and recycle these products. Finally, Belgium will oversee the first discussions on the bloc's environmental targets for 2040. A Belgian-style compromise will also be required to reach agreement on the revision of the Union's multi-annual budget. Last week, the EU's 27 leaders were unable to agree on a budget increase requested by the European Commission. Finally, reform of the EU and the possible enlargement of it will be discussed during this 6-month period.
C'est préparer notre Europe à être plus performante. Et voilà, avant de devenir plus grand, on doit devenir meilleur. On doit devenir meilleur dans une prise de décision plus rapide qui nous aide à garder notre unité.
The signals being sent out by the Belgian authorities on enlargement will be closely followed by the 27 EU member states as they celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Union's great eastward enlargement in the first half of the year.
Christmas is a time for celebrations, with family, friends and work colleagues all getting together. Alcohol consumption skyrockets during the holidays, but more and more young people are switching from binge drinking to mindful drinking, a way of being more aware of what and how much you consume. It's a bit embarrassing. It's a bit cringy to see yourself in these situations, like being extremely drunk. You can be recorded and then it goes viral, so it's better to be more aware of where you are, who you're with and what you're doing. According to the World Health Organization, heavy episodic drinking among Europeans under 25 has fallen more than 10 points since the year 2000. Young people are taking greater care of their physical and mental health, and also their personal image. I prioritize other things in my life, like making a plan in the morning, which if I was hungover, I probably wouldn't do. In Spain, 15% of those under the age of 24 do not drink, but they still face social pressure. My excuse is always, I don't drink for health reasons, so then no one bothers me.
Mindful drinking es un fenómeno global que inunda de hashtags las redes sociales. Beber con moderación se ha convertido para muchos jóvenes en un reto viral.
Their relationship with social media has to do with the positive feedback they receive, the likes they get, and this feedback of I haven't been drinking or I've managed to reduce my alcohol consumption is important to them because they receive recognition in form of a reward from their followers or from the people with whom they share networks. The rise of cocktail bars like this shows a change in consumption trends towards higher quality and lower quantity, where you can enjoy a conventional cocktail and alternate if you want with a mocktail from its extensive menu of non-alcoholic options.
Marvel has dropped rising Hollywood star Jonathan Majors from its superhero blockbusters after he was convicted of assaulting and harassing his ex-girlfriend Grace Jabari. The actor is facing up to 1 year imprisonment, which has upended Marvel's plans for the franchise, which had his character Kang the Conqueror in a prime role in multiple upcoming films. The jury of 6 people were presented with evidence illustrating a cycle of abuse and escalating patterns of coercion. After 3 days, they determined that Majors had assaulted and harassed his girlfriend.